Hi and welcome. I'm here to go ahead and make a good video for you for installing Ubuntu server on a virtual machine. The reason I wanted to do this is when I started doing it, I had all kinds of troubles and grief. So if I figured, now that I worked it all out, I want to make a video that will make it easier for everybody else to install and not have to go through the problems I had. So what we'll do here, let's explain a few things here. I have out on my server that I created this website with, on the tools folder, tools page. It's up at the meaning of https themeaningoflife.quest/tools. If you go here, you'll be able to grab all the tools you need to install this do this yourself. If you want to install the server on a standalone computer, like an old laptop you got or an old desktop you have that you're not going to use Windows on anymore, then you can download this flashing tool. It's your flashing tool. It's very small. Install it on your Windows machine. Then download the Ubuntu server ISO file right here. And it's going to take about 3 gigs, so it'll take a while to download. Once you got them both downloaded and this USB flashing tool installed, run the flashing tool. Point it at put your thumb drive in, a USB thumb drive, preferably about at least 8 gigs, maybe 10 or more. And then point the etcher tool at the ISO. It will go ahead and make a bootable USB for you and put the server and all the software you need to install Linux on another machine. Get to the other machine and just put the thumb drive in, boot up to the thumb drive, and it'll automatically start installing. But we're not going to do that here because I don't want to wreck my regular Windows machine laptop that's really good. So I'm going to go ahead and install the VirtualBox here. This is made by Oracle. It's free. You can download it right here. And I already have it installed, so I'm not going to download it again, but you can get that here as well. Clonezilla, that's what you're going to use for backups. When you get your server up and running, you don't want to lose all that work you put into it. You can use Clonezilla, and it is an ISO. You use Etcher to make another thumb drive, bootable thumb drive, with Clonezilla on it. That's what you boot up to do a backup. Now I'm going to get out of here, minimize this, and we're going to go ahead and open up this Oracle VirtualBox. This is what it looks like once you install it on your system. It won't come up like this. I already have Mint installed, Linux Mint, but you can have more than one VirtualBox running at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead, and this is what it's going to look like when you first power it up. You'll have this welcome box. We're going to create a new connection. We're not going to use this Mint one here. Create a new one. We'll name this one server. Server 3. How about we do that? Okay, and then down here where it says ISO image, point it to the Ubuntu ISO that you downloaded. Usually it's going to be in your downloads folder. Okay. Click skip unattended installation. Click next. This here's just where you tell it how much memory to use. I have 4 gigs of memory on this laptop. I'm going to give the virtual machine half of it to play with. And only one processor. Next. Here's the tricky one though. You want it, if your virtual machine, you want it with Linux, you want to have at least 80 gigs. Right here. Okay, so click that. And then finish. That 80 gigs now is just going to reserve that aside for Linux to play with. Okay, it's not going to take your stuff away at all. So, but it's just setting up like an imitation hard drive inside this VirtualBox. Now you notice it's not doing anything, but it's highlighted. So we'll click Start. And if you remember, we pointed the VirtualBox at that ISO. So it's powering up now, the virtual machine. Now when it gets to this point, it says try or install Ubuntu server. just hit enter. You'll see the same thing if you did that USB thing I was telling you about earlier. I'm just going to hit enter. Let it go do its thing. It's getting most of the files it's going to need just to do the install. It's not actually installing yet. You notice down at the bottom there it's using the disk stuff. You can see the activity. As you're going through this process here, you'll see all this stuff happening. Sometimes it'll just like come to a dead stop for a long time, and you'll think it just might have got hung up. It didn't. If you move the window down, you look behind it, you'll see that the CPU is busy as all get out. So it's doing something. It's not hanging up. And also the network one. See, the network's busy too. It's going to start asking me some questions here pretty quick. Some of the spots on here take quite a while to install. When we get to those, I'll let you know when they are, and then I'll just pause the video and come back to it after it gets done installing, because sometimes some of it will take like a half an hour, and I don't want anybody to sit here watching this video for half an hour when nothing is happening, or at least it looks like nothing is happening. Okay, here we go. We're going to hit enter to be English. I did hit enter, so what is it doing here? There we go. Now we're going to have to scroll down to see where it says done. I'm just going to hit done. Up at the top, the X for Ubuntu server, that's the one you want. So what you're going to do is tab on down to done and hit enter. Here's the tricky part. This is where you're going to set the IP address for a server. You're going to want it to be a static IP. You don't want a DHCP. You don't want to have your server IP address changing every time you turn around, because nobody will be able to rely on how to get to you. So we're going to change it to a static. So let's do this. And also it says EN. That tells you it's an Ethernet adapter. If it was a wireless, it'd say WL. So anyway, let's go back here to Ethernet. Hit enter. And we're going to choose arrow down to IPv4. Hit enter. And hit enter again on this automatic DSC. We're going to change that to manual. Hit enter. Right here, we'll tab down to subnet. We're going to put the subnet in for most home networks, okay? Mine is going to be 192.168. Oh, it helps if you turn that numlock key on. .192.168.0 /24. And it's going to be safe to put in even on yours if you install it. So now we're going to tab on down to the address. This is what you want your server's IP address to be. So I want this to be static. Let's make it 208. I want it to be far enough out of the range of my router's DHCP capability so it doesn't accidentally get to it and try to assign an IP address to it. And then it would conflict with other stuff on there. So we made it 208, that'll be safe. Now we're going to tell what the gateway is for the router. My router is going to be 192.168.0.1. And most people's gateway is that as well. But if you don't know what it is, open up a DOS box on your machine and just type ipconfig and hit enter, and it'll tell you what it is. Now we're going to go down to name servers. We're going to use the Google name servers, DNS servers. So I'm going to type in 8.8.8.8, comma, space, and the next name server, which is 8.8.4.4. Now tab on down to save. We're not going to use search domains. Hit save. And now you see up at the top it says static 192.168.0.208. Good. We don't need to create a bond. So let's just toggle on down here to probably done if I can get the arrows down here. Yep, hit enter. Done. We're not going to use a proxy. So we'll hit done. Now, oh, I forgot to do something here. I'm going to show you something here. Let's move this out of the way. In the back here, under settings, network, you have to change this from NAT, change it to bridged adapter. Click OK. All right. The reason you do that, so now Linux can get outside of the VirtualBox and use your Ethernet adapter to get to the internet. Because see, as you can see what it's doing right now, it's testing how it can get out to these places. It couldn't do that before. It would just sit there forever if you didn't enable that bridged adapter. So now it's going to go and it will help it install much quicker. It says it passed all the tests. Let's hit enter for done. And we're not going to, here's what we're going to do here too. We're going to make some changes here, not many. We're going to use the entire 83 gigs of that virtual disk. Okay? We'll tab down here to where it says use an LVM group. Just hit the space bar to get rid of that X. And then tab on down all the way to the bottom. Hit done. Enter. Here's what it's going to do. It tells you what it's going to do. So we're just going to hit done. And this is going to, your warning, it's going to tell you pretty soon it's going to start erasing everything on that virtual disk, that 80 gigs that you set aside. So we're going to hit continue. And this is pretty much one of the last things we're going to have to do here before we just have a long sit and wait. So let's just name it, I'm just going to name it test. My name's Test, by the way. Okay. Tab down here. Your server's name. Let's name it Swampy 67. Now, it says pick a username. This is what you're going to log in with. Here's where you need to get a piece of paper out and write down your login name and your password that you're going to create right now. Now, since I'm just doing this for the video and not anything as serious, I'm just going to have a wimpy password because it's easier just to type. But if you're going to do this for real, you want to make it a hardcore password that people can't guess. You know, like uppercase, lowercase, over 8 characters long, stuff like that. I'm just going to make mine easy for now. I made mine my password. So I think I can remember that by the time it installs. Tab down here to done, hit done. Ask about Ubuntu Pro, skip for now, that's fine. Hit continue. Now there's something you have to do here. You do want to install OpenSSH server, so we hit the space bar. And then we're going to tab on down to Done. Don't import an SSH key. Just go tab all the way down to Done. Hit Enter. Now it's going to install. Actually, not yet. It's asking ignore questions. No, we don't need to install any of these add-in snaps right now. We'll do those later. So we'll tab on down to Done. Hit Enter. Okay, here we go. It's installing now. Now, if you want to see what it's actually doing, you can tab on down here to View Full Log and hit Enter. Now, here's what it's actually doing. It's going to be kind of fascinating. You'll see it. Right now, though, I'm not going to leave it on here. I'm going to pause this video because this part of the process of installing is going to take at least a half an hour, maybe a little bit more. So I'm just going to pause this video and come back when it's done. All right, this is almost done now, so I came back. You can watch the final part of it. Up at the top, you'll notice it says Installing System. When it's done installing, it'll say Install Complete, and that's when it'll ask us to reboot. So this shouldn't take too long here, so we'll just watch it. And wouldn't it make a liar out of me now? It's going to take forever. Actually, I don't think it will. It'll start going here in a second. Oh yeah, it's going to take a little while. Starting unattended upgrade script down at the bottom. You see that? Yep, this is going to take a little bit more, so I'm going to go ahead and pause the video again. Okay, finally got done. At the top says Install Complete. We go to the bottom down here. We'll tab on down here to close. Hit Enter. Hit Enter. And then we'll move the arrow keys down to Reboot Now. It says Rebooting. And we'll look at the top here. I'm going to show you something here at the top. It said failed unmounting a CD-ROM. Well, we don't have a CD-ROM on here, so we're not going to worry about that. See how it says please remove the installation medium and press Enter. If you had that flash drive and you were installing it on another box with that bootable USB, this is where you would take that USB out of your USB slot and hit Enter. So we're just going to hit Enter and let it finish rebooting. And I got no idea what it's doing with all this stuff. This is way beyond my pay grade. Okay, let's give it, I'm always one to let stuff just simmer down a little bit before I hit the Enter key. I want to make sure the brains and the thing is done thinking. Let's give it about 30 seconds here. Okay, I think that's good. I'm going to hit Enter. Okay, let's log in. All right, there we go. Okay, on my regular server, this has got its own machine. It'll actually give you the temperature of the processor. So anyway, this is how it's done. Let's see. You see down the bottom it says Mike. That's who's logged in at Swampy. That's the name of the server, Swampy67. Okay. The little tilde means I'm in the home directory, and the $sign means it's the normal user account. So I'm going to get out of here. So I'm just going to, well, first off, let's just type clear. That clears the screen, gets rid of all that stuff, and it's at the top now. To get out of this and leave the server running, I just type exit. So let's do that. If I wanted to shut it down, I'd type, I'll come back. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. Let's just type exit for now. Now the server's still running. I'm going to minimize this box, and I'm going to bring up a DOS window on my laptop, on my Windows machine. And I'm going to use SSH, so I'll type SSH. Oh, come on. Space, my name that I log into the server with, the @ symbol, the IP address of the server. I think it was 207, if I'm not mistaken. I bet it wasn't. Yep. Okay, let's try this again. There we go. Good. Okay, the first time you connect with SSH, it's going to ask you to install this certificate coming from the server. You have to, if you don't want to connect, just say no, but you're going to have to type yes and hit enter. Now it wants your password for the server. Okay, there we are. Notice that says Mike at Swampy67, $sign. Okay, it's just like if I was sitting there in front of the server right now. So let's do the same thing here. And notice the IP address up here, 208. Okay, let's type clear. And we're going to type exit to disconnect from the server. I can close this window now. Okay, let's bring up the Windows server now. Let's log into it and shut her down. Alright, here's the command to shut down. You're going to do it as an administrator. So you're going to type the command sudo, sudo, space, shutdown, space, now. And it wants the password for the administrator, which is me. So it's going to be nice. There we go. It's shutting down. There we go. We'll catch you in the next video where I'm going to go through a bunch of other things. Because all you do now is you just see a box. It's just a black box. And that's doing nothing but looking at a pretty little black box. The next video I'm going to show you how to install cool stuff like make it a file server or a web server. So stay tuned. We'll see you all later. Bye-bye.